Homelessness 2.0 day 62. I am now in the other space that was like I was over there before. I was just on the other side of that wall. Now I'm on this side of the wall. Like I said in the other video, in yesterday's video, this place has no heat, so that kind of sucks. Oh shit! This thing needed to be cleaned a while ago. So I'm opening it up and just smoking. But I'm gonna take this, stick it in here, and ideally, the idea is that in the next 110 degrees Fahrenheit, that should all be relatively warm, probably even hot. We'll see. And then with regards to these, I'm gonna empty them all out. Now they're not entirely full in the sense that it's just they're piled all the way up with their sauces now. It's I put water in all of them yesterday. I'm sit overnight, and the reason is that despite the price of each one of these, I just don't use them enough to really, what's the word, validate or otherwise just. There's another word I'm thinking of. I can't think of it right now. But it really isn't practical. It's not the best idea. So I'm going to see what happens if I do this. Okay. That works. So I'm just going to go ahead and... Oh, wait. Let's go ahead and pop that off. Empty, baby. And boy, does it smell like it's in ingredients. I mean, it should. But it smells like spicy shit. Why would I be doing this? Like I said, it's not something that... It's not really practical. Got a little bit up on my nose. You know, it's like at some point they're all going to end up going to waste, one way or another. Man, I mean, I knew it was going to be like this too. I knew I was going to be dealing with. The vaporized spices. Oh God. But hey, what a great way to start, right? I gotta dial in this thing because it's the same but it's different just enough for it to be kind of, well, like the habits of the previous one just aren't going to work out as well. It's too bad about this one because this is the newest one of all of them that I bought, and it's actually pretty good, but it's still like really fucking hot. And I don't feel great about it, but it was something I was going to do anyway. Because it's like, what's the point? This one's kind of vinegary though, which is weird. Because I don't generally like vinegary sauces. I'm okay with them, but they're not the ideal for me. I like mustardy ones, I like sort of ketchupy style ones. Oh man. Ooh, that one got up in my nose. This is the oldest one. And one of the least used. If that says anything. I am definitely going to have to wash my hands when I'm done with this. Even though I'm doing my best not to touch any of it, but I'm still going to do it. Because that's just going to be the smart thing to do. Yeah, I see that you're preheated. So I'm just going to let that sit for a few minutes while I'm doing this. I do like the fact that this stove, once it gets to its preheat, or this oven rather, and then it tells you, it beeps at you. That's kind of cool. They might be like, what the hell's with the deal with the garlic and the Grey Poupon? Man. This one almost feels bad. This is one of the newer ones too. Like, so okay, here's the Triple X, right? But this one is the Apollo, and the Apollo is the newest one of the series. And again, that kind of feels kind of bad for getting rid of it too, but especially because it's like $22 for the bottle. But again, it's going to end up either going to waste or getting lost in some way. And one might say, well, what about, just leaving it for somebody else? And it's like, what's the chances that if I let... oh, shit. If I left it here for somebody, that they would want it at all? Oh, man. Oh, Jesus. As fresh as it was, man. Really tried to do me in. Still gotta see. The neck on this thing doesn't like to retract. So like a lot of this specific space feels like it was kind of an afterthought. I'm not sure. So let's go ahead and dump out the minced garlic. Because I'm probably not going to be doing anything that's going to use it in this next month, and I really don't know where I'm going to be next month anyway. So it stands to make sense that it's best to get rid of these things, even if it's quote unquote painful to do so. And no more hot dogs really. So I'm done with the Grey Poupon. Plus, it was pretty old anyway. And granted, it's mustard, so it doesn't really go bad for the most part. But at the same time, it's like these were things that I was planning on getting rid of yesterday anyway. Before I found out, well, rather, day before yesterday. Before I found out about this place as an option. And I think it was like close to like 6 or 7 when I finally came over here. I was planning on just kind of waiting to come over here first before I did my video yesterday, but then I was like, I got to the point where I was like, well, maybe not. Maybe I should just go ahead and do the video, because I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm going to have to let this one sit for a little bit longer because it doesn't want to unstick from the sides. I'm going to throw in a little bit of soap too. That should definitely help. That one will sit for longer. And then it will, since water is a solvent, it is great at dissolving things. Which is why we use it in so much stuff. But it doesn't do everything. Oh yeah, I need to wash my hands too. Well, I'll do it after I get rid of the bottles. And, now they're nice and empty. This new bed is also much firmer. So are the pillows. And I'm not sure I like them yet. I'll see what happens in the next day or so. Now, man, I like me some hot water. especially right now while it's cold. Alright, so that's done. My hands are washed. Let us see about the pizza that is now inside this preheated 400-degree oven. Oh yeah, okay, it looks like we're getting somewhere. So, it's paper towel. Pull that off just a little bit. Almost feel like I should keep it in there a little longer, but I'm hungry, and this was just kind of shit. Fuck. Burn myself. That's the one thing about paper towels, especially thinner ones, that heat can transfer through them pretty easily. That's gonna leave in a blister, I'm sure of it. But, and now for the shitty side of all of this, now I have to run cold water under my thumb, or over my thumb throughout this, because that will help reduce inflammation and minimize the damage from the heat. That's a bad burn too. So now I'm going to have to suffer through this cold for a while, despite the fact that it was the whole point of it all. Shit. Get it under there. Like, you want, yeah, the pizza's great. But, not only is it kind of a thin one, but it was the one I was using to dry my hands with, so. Shit. I know better. But I just gotta do this for a bit. It's not like it's ice cold water. Like, you don't want to put your finger under ice, because the ice, I mean, it's just like, you know, having like a cold window and throwing hot water on it. It's kind of the opposite, but like, ice coming in contact can cause damage as well, which is why you get frostbite. Like, this water's fucking cold, especially because it's cold outside. But it's only going to be as cold as whatever the ambient temperature is. But it's not going to be colder. And so really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cool my thumb down to the temperature of this water. I'm not trying to cool it down to 32 degrees. That's dumb. This water ain't 32 degrees. It's not even likely to be 33 degrees. It still hurts, but it still hurts more in that one spot, which, like I said, is definitely going to have a blister. And this is my dominant hand too, so that's going to suck. Because this is probably going to be, let's see, I'm going to say this injury is going to probably last me at least 2 weeks before it even gets to the point where it's fully healed. This right here is this experience that I'm dealing with right now. Everything that led up to this point is precisely how my life works. So there's an inconvenience of something that, while it does have a resolution that is probably somewhere that needs a bit of work to get to. That issue being it's cold. I need to go get a heater. I have a heater in my storage. What I tried to do was combat that problem with also you know. So like, I don't mind eating cold pizza, but I was like, well, if I heat up the pizza, then I also get a chance to kind of heat up the place a bit. So I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. And in doing so, I injure myself. So I cause myself more discomfort because now I have to do this for longer. Not necessarily longer than doing the work to go get the heater, but I still got to do it. And so I've injured myself in the process. So it's like when a Pokemon critically fails and it injures itself instead of doing the thing it set out to do. That's me. That's my life. I get to do this all the time. I get to critically fail all the time, injure myself, because I was trying to be pragmatic. I was trying to be practical. I was trying to do two things at once with one action. And it should have worked. And I even thought that, like, my towel wasn't too damp, but it's damp, and so that it doesn't matter. And I was thinking that, maybe I would have had enough time to go from, I'll try to show you. Like, look at the distance between those things. It's not far. But that's the thing about heat transfer. Heat transfer is not flow. And I mean, obviously it had been sitting in there long enough. I'm gonna pull it out and see what happens here. Like, really, there's nothing else you can do to a burn. Like, no, you don't do things like put butter on it or anything. That's dumb. First of all, shit, no, it still hurts like hell. Like, that's the thing. It's like, I've got to have... Why do you want running water instead of cold water? Or instead of, like, a bowl of water? Because it's constantly pulling the heat away. If you have a bowl of cold water, it's only going to get as cold as the bowl of water was in the beginning. It's not going to stay in a position where or thermally speaking, the position is not gonna change, or whatever. It's not gonna be constantly refreshed with cold water. So you just run it under cold water for as long as possible. And I felt that down to my bone. Like, I felt this burn. I really, really felt it. Like, I haven't experienced that kind of burning pain in so long, I'm not even sure I ever have. I burned myself, but nothing so deep and persistent as this one. Now, is it going to cause, like, permanent damage? Is it going to start, is it going to, kill the flesh that's never going to return? No, of course not. Because I did first aid. I did the right first aid. Is it going to have some damage? Of course. You can't prevent the damage. Damage is already done. The fact that heat transferred between the tip of my thumb into my thumb to the point where I could, it was like, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but if you've ever had cold hands while doing something like baseball or swinging a hammer or something like that, and you feel the shock run through your fingers, it felt like that. Like I had hit my bone instead of, oh, it's a little cold. It was, shit, it felt like it kind of went through my finger. Like up my finger through my hand kind of pain. It was jarring, not like, I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it. Doesn't matter. All I know is that this is really the best way that you can handle a burn of this nature. You don't want to stick it in ice. You don't want to stick it on ice. You don't want to stick it in ice water. You want cold tap water running over the injury to extract as much thermal energy out of it as possible so that it doesn't continue to do further damage. That's why you're doing this. This is why you run cold water over a burn. It hurts. It hurts less. It's not like, you know, when you eat spicy, and in a way it actually kind of is like when you eat spicy food too. Like, when you eat spicy food, I just happened to take a bite into a jalapeno because of jalapenos right there. Ooh, I love this shot, by the way. Man, this camera is pretty good. Anyway, jalapenos, took a bite into it. Water doesn't help spice. Thyme does. Fat does. Acid does. Water makes you feel better for a little bit, and then it stops feeling better. Now, in this case, it's kind of the same, but it's also different because the heat is different. The heat here is physical. Whereas the heat from a jalapeno or a really hot sauce is chemical. Now, it's not a chemical burn. It is a sensation caused by chemicals. That chemical being capsaicin, and the way that it reacts in your system. The way that allows, I believe it's calcium channels to essentially open up and then, you know, produce more. Let's see about. Oh, wait, I got a cup in the other room. Be right back. That may need a drink because I have the ingredients to do so. And because I want one. Especially now more than before. It's not coming back as fast, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I still feel it. I'm going to take my finger out. And it's not just the residual sort of pain from the cold. Part of that's there, but mostly, you know, that's in the beginning. If you will, it's kind of like the aftertaste, but not an actual aftertaste, of course. It's an after pain. And so, like, this is pretty much the remainder of this video. It's me running my finger, my thumb, under cold water because I burned myself less than halfway through it. Back to the fridge. Not a lot in it, but I was going to do kind of like a little tour. I don't know if I can now. Might later. No. Pizza has been properly reheated though. So at least there's an upside. Oven is a little bit more advanced than the other one. It even has a central burner. Central long burner, which is kind of cool. I guess since it's a burner, it's hot. That thing right there. But yeah, I'm gonna take it off a little bit and see. I'm not gonna pick up the pizza with it though. Just kind of. Nope, I still feel it. Well, definitely gonna get a blister from that, which is gonna suck. So that's fun. And you know, the worst part is, like, I know what I'm doing. I'm not an idiot when it comes to cooking and pulling shit out of the fucking stove or anything. It's just, I did not realize how hot the plate was going to get. That was just one piece of information. And I only learned in the middle of picking it up. And I'm sure there are cooks, chefs, whatever, that have had similar or worse burns just from doing their job. And yet, we somehow think that their jobs are not that hard or aren't worth so much pay or something like that. And this is the kind of stuff they deal with on a regular basis. In fact, they would probably be told they only have like 15 minutes tops to take care of it, and then they'd have to get back to work to suffer through it however they can, you know. Wrap it up and just man up and deal with it. Buckle up, buckaroo, because that's the way we treat people. Yeah, going back that route, why not? Why can't I use my platform, my experiences, to talk about others who deal with similar or worse? Isn't that how we would want things? Instead of just talking about me, you would want me to talk about others too? To relate it? To feel heard? Because maybe you were one of those people? I would hope so. Almost sounded like a lion roaring there. That was good. Super low frequency. That was awesome. I wish my voice was that low. That would be awesome. I'll probably actually be able to make some money out of it. This thing that I've got, no. I ain't making any money out of it. Not enough people listen. Or care. Or want to put any money towards it. Like, I've had friends from college, whatnot. They're like, dude, you should write a book. Hey, you should do a podcast. Oh, hey, I listen to your podcast. One person, maybe two. But I find out, like, months after I pretty much quit. Or I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty much toward the end of making it, because I've had literally no feedback. And I'm one of those people who doesn't like just throwing my shit in people's faces. So I don't, I don't get forced feedback. whatever. If you think this is long and boring, just imagine what I'm going through. I not only have a burned thumb, mind you, the thing that is more important on your hand than any other digit. Your thumb is the most important digit on your hand. It has more nerves going to it because of the way that it moves. The opposable thumb is why we as humans have been able to do so much of what we can do. Now, sure, we have, some cerebral growth that has helped us, but who's to say that was chicken or egg kind of thing? I don't know. Could be that because of the evolution of the human thumb and its opposability, we were able to do things that kept us alive longer. In all likelihood, that's true. That's the case. And then in so doing, not only did we become more dominant as a species, but then that allowed us growth, gave us more mutations, and some of those mutations may have something to do with various parts of brain chemistry and brain growth. I don't know. That's all evolution is. Like I said before, whatever keeps you alive long enough to have kids, that's where evolution comes from. If it lets you get to that point, then it has been effectively selected for survival. And if it does it enough, then definitely. But the other byproduct of evolution is mutations. This is something that a lot of people don't seem to pick up on, especially now with the concept of coronavirus and its mutations and all that. If something continues to live long enough, it can have more mutations, and those mutations may or may not create more survivor capabilities. Like that's why we have blue eyes. Blue eyes is a mutation. The default is brown. I am a mutant in that regard. I have blue eyes. I also have white skin. That's also a mutation. The default is a skin that has more melanin in it, not less. Why? Because the cradle of humanity is in Africa. That is where we have found the oldest remnants of humanity, of Homo sapien, is in Africa. And the regions, especially northern regions of humanity, especially, in the more winter-related areas, closer to the poles, it's harder for a person of color to actually live up there because their vitamin D absorption is lower than a person with less melanin. So people with darker skin color, not so much now, but back in the day before vitamin supplements and how food was constantly enforced with vitamins and minerals, enriched is the word I was actually looking for, not enforced. They were enriched with those things. A person with darker skin color had a higher chance of getting something like rickets, which is a manifestation of having low bone density or weaker bones. And you have stronger bones when you have more vitamin D in your life. It's not really calcium. So not only am I a mutant because of my eye color, I'm a mutant because of my skin color. Because I'm a mutation. But these mutations allowed people to survive in certain environments. And then, I'm able to drink milk. See, most humans, about 70%, stop being able to process lactose after they're children. We are able to do it because mother's milk and all. And no, not the guy from The Boys. Pause for laughter, blah, blah, blah. After a point of development, the typical human loses their ability to process lactose. They become flatulent, diuretic almost. There's a number of, various symptoms of lactose intolerance. Those are two common ones. And yet, there are people out there like me who can just consume it no problem. That's because we're mutants. We mutated, allowing us to consume the milk of other animals. Whatever happens, whatever switch that happens that causes humans in their youth to no longer be able to process lactose didn't happen in some humans in the past. And this is also another aspect of evolution that people don't seem to pick up on as well. Just because it doesn't have any bearing on your life doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to improve or worsen your life. It could just lay dormant. So, a mutation that has no real direct effect on your life, and then you have children, and then your children have children, and so on, down the generations, and then enough people live in a specific region where other animals exist, and we're like, dude, we need something beyond just animal meat or grains or something. We need something else to help sustain us. For these animals, they're sucking out on each other's milk. Let's see if we can drink it. Some people can and some people can't. And approximately 30% of the world are able, now at least, to be able to eat it, consume it. Potentially even subsist off of it. Because you get all three macronutrients and quite a bit of micronutrients. You get protein, you get fat, you get sugar, and you get plenty of water. Milk is, in so many ways, an amazing staple food. Yeah. Well, at this point, I think I've said more or less what I need to be saying, and I probably need to focus more on this. Because, is this the kind of stream you really want to watch? So I'm going to take a moment, have fun,